I want you to imagine two companies. Company A is slow and their departments fight with each other. And they cannot find their data and they're scared of the future. Company B is fast. They build new apps in days and their AI resolves problems automatically. And they're winning the market. So, what's the secret difference? Well, it's not magic. It's three letters if you're in the SAP world, and that is SAP BTP. And you see these letters everywhere. And let's be honest, most leaders are confused about what it means and they just think that it's the tech stuff. Well, they're wrong. And today we will unlock that secret and we will show you the engine that powers the world's smartest companies. And by the end of this video, you'll not just understand about BTP, but you'll know how to use it to win. So let's go. Let's look at the problem. Most big companies work like separate islands. So your finance team uses SAP S4HANA, your sales team uses Salesforce, and your project team uses Primavera. Now, these systems do not talk to each other, they're disconnected. If you want to connect them, it's usually very expensive and it takes a long time. SAP BTP solves this. Think of SAP BTP as a universal adapter or as a central hub. Kind of sits in the middle and connects all of these islands together. So, what are we actually talking about? SAP BTP is not one thing, it's a toolbox of four very specific compartments. Well, let's look at exactly what is inside. So, the first compartment is app development, which we call as the SAP Build. So, if your warehouse manager in the old world needed an app to scan barcodes, he would go to IT and IT says, okay, wait 6 months and pay us 50,000. And that was slow. In the BTP world, you use SAP Build, which uses a low code platform. And this means you don't have to write complex computer language. You just drag and drop boxes on a screen like Lego. And a regular employee can build that barcode scanner app in 3 days. And it connects securely to your system, and the problem is solved immediately. The second compartment is the integration suite. So previously, your company spoke different languages. So your web shop spoke in English, but your finance team spoke in German. And when a customer wanted to buy something, the systems didn't talk to each other. They didn't understand each other. And so people had to physically and manually copy paste data to fix it. Whereas in the BTP way, we use the integration suite. So think of it as a universal translator and it sits in the middle. So when your order comes in, the integration suite instantly translates the data. It tells the warehouse, ship this, and finance, please bill this. And it all happens automatically with zero errors. The third compartment is data and analytics, and it uses Datasphere and Analytics Cloud. So the CEO would ask, are we profitable right now? And the team would say, we don't know. We have to download all the data from America, then the data from Europe, and combine them in Excel and give us 2 weeks. And by then that data is pulled. Whereas in the BTP way, we use SAP Datasphere. Now, this tool just doesn't move data. It just looks at it where it lives. And then we use SAP Analytics Cloud to visualize it. So the CEO opens one dashboard on their iPad and they see the live sales, the live costs, and live profits from every country all on one screen. And they can make their decisions today, not next month. So the fourth compartment is artificial intelligence, and it uses a tool called SAP Joule. Now, in the old way, you would ask a public AI like ChatGPT to write a business email. But that AI doesn't know your customers, it doesn't know your prices, it doesn't know your products, and it writes a generic, useless email. In the BTP way, you use SAP Business AI, and the copilot is Joule. That AI lives inside your secure system, so it knows your data. And so you say, Joule, please check this delivery. If it's late, email the customer, and the AI sees the truck broken down, finds the new arrival time, and writes a perfect email apologizing with the specific new date. So it's smart because it has context. So we've talked about the strategy. Now let's look under the hood. So when you buy BTP, you're not just buying one big block. You're buying a collection of components. And to make it simple, think of BTP like a modern car. Now, there are three main parts you need to know, right? So, component one is the environments, which is the engine. So, you need a place to actually run your code. And we call this the environment or runtime. Now, think of it as the engine. You can choose different types of engines depending on, what you need to drive. So you have Cloud Foundry. This is the standard engine. It's great for building normal business apps. Then you have Kaima or Kubernetes. This is the high performance race car engine. You need this for very complex heavy duty apps. Then you have the ABAP environment, and this is the classic engine. So if your team had written SAP code for the last 20 years, they can use this engine to move their old code to the cloud easily. The second component is the services. It's kind of the features. So, you know, if you look at it in the same analogy, an engine is not enough. You need features to make the car useful. So in BTP, we call these as services. These are ready made tools that you plug into your apps. So, what are these tools? Integration Suite. This is your GPS. It connects you to other destinations and other systems. Then you have the SAP Build. This is your dashboard. It lets you control things easily. And then you have the AI core, and this is your self driving computer. And it adds intelligence to the car. And the benefit is that you don't have to build a GPS from scratch, you just turn on the service. Now, component number three is the security, the key. So you need to make sure that only your employees can drive the car. And this is the identity authentication service. So in the past, employees had to remember, 10 different passwords or for 10 different systems, and they wrote them on sticky notes and kept them in their drawer. Now, this is dangerous, right? Even I'm guilty of that. But with BTP security, they have only one key, and which is a single sign-on. And they log in once, and the BTP opens the door to S4HANA, to SuccessFactors, to Ariba, and to your custom apps. And it's safer and faster. Now, let's talk about the money and control, right? The number one fear for a CEO or for a CFO about moving to the cloud is cloud sprawl. And this means everybody starts buying things, and suddenly your bill is in millions of dollars and you don't know why. Now, to prevent this, you use SAP BTP Cockpit. So, to understand it, don't think of it as a software, think of it as managing a skyscraper office building. So in level one, you have the global account, which is your lease, right? This is the top level and it represents your contract with SAP. So if I look back at that building analogy, this is the main lease for the entire building. Well, you don't do any work here. This is just for administration. This is where you see exactly what you have purchased, your credits. And when your contract expires, it is the master view. Now, in level two, it's the directories or the cost centers. And so this is where you group your projects together. And many companies skip this. And that's a huge mistake. If you look at that building analogy again, these are the flows of your building. So you assign one flow to finance, one to HR, one to sales. Now, this is important because it allows for internal chargebacks. And this is what your CFO cares. Without directory, you get just one giant bill. But with directories, the CFO can say, why is the HR department spending $50,000 this month, but sales is only spending $5,000? So it gives you financial transparency instantly. Now, the level three is the sub accounts or your secure rooms. This is where the actual applications live. So these are the locked offices on each floor. So when you build a room, you must choose its physical location, right? Which is the region. So you have to decide, is this room in Germany or is it in Virginia, in the US, or is it in Singapore? So why does the CIO care about this? This is about compliance. So if you have customer data from Europe, GDPR says it cannot leave Europe. So you must create a German sub account. But if you've accidentally put that data into the US sub account, you're breaking the law. And this structure keeps you safe. So level four is entitlements, right? Just because you have a room doesn't mean you can do work. You need to assign resources, uh, the service plans, right? Now, this is the furniture and the electricity in your building. You decide what goes into each room. And why the budget manager cares? Well, this is your quota control. Imagine you have a playground room for junior developers to practice. You don't want to give them expensive gold plated furniture, right? Which is your high performance AI computers. You give them the cheap plastic chairs, right? Which is the free tier services. You save the expensive furniture for the production room where the actual business happens. So the entitlements stop your team from wasting money on tools that they don't need. Bottom line, the SAP BTP cockpit is not scary. It's just a hierarchy. The global account checks the contracts, the directory tracks the budget, and the sub accounts follow the law. The entitlements control the waste, and if you've set this correctly on day one, you will never have a surprise bill. So, to finish, I need to tell you about the two biggest secrets about BTP. Now, these are not about features, these are about saving your company millions of dollars in the future. So, secret one is the clean core strategy. Now, you would have heard this word umpteen times. Everybody talks about clean core, right? In the past, you needed a very specific custom feature, like you were building a special discount calculator for your customers. So, what would you have to do? You hire a programmer, you change the code inside your main ERP system. And this is like needing a new shelf, so you cut a hole in the main wall. And the problem is, years later, when you want to renovate or you want to upgrade the house, the walls collapse because of all the holes in the wall. Now, this is why upgrades used to take 3 years and cost a fortune. So you were trapped by your own customizations. Now, with SAP BTP, we use the clean core strategy, which means you keep your main S4HANA system standard. You don't touch it. It stays clean. If you need that special discount calculator, build it on BTP, which sits next to your system. Now, because your main house is clean, you can upgrade your ERP software every year automatically, just like you're upgrading your iPhone, right? It's that simple. So you get innovation without destroying your foundation. So, secret number two is the multi cloud freedom. We're all working with Azure or AWS. When you buy a cloud platform, you're forced to use one specific cloud provider. Now, if that cloud provider price goes up, or if that provider is slow in your country, you're stuck. And executives hate this vendor lock in. With SAP BTP, it is cloud agnostic, which basically means it does not care whose computers you run it on. You can choose to run your BTP environment on Amazon Web Services, AWS, or Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud, or even Alibaba. So imagine your company has already spent $10 million with Microsoft Azure. You have a great contract with them. You can deploy SAP BTP on top of Azure. You use the relationship you already have. Or maybe you expand to China where Google does not work well. You can simply switch that part of your business to Alibaba Cloud. So the end thing is you are the boss. You choose the vendor that gives you the best price and the best performance, and you're never trapped. So let's summarize. So SAP BTP is not just a software. It is the connector that joins your digital islands. It's the shield that protects your clean core, and it is the engine for your real business AI. So if you're a leader and your job is to prepare your company for the next 10 years, BTP is the foundation you need to do that. So before you sign a contract or build an app, there is one particular practical step you need to take today. You need to fix your identity. So in the SAP world, we used to have a mess of user IDs, right? So you had an S user ID, which was your corporate ID owned by your company. And you had a P user ID, which is your public ID and owned by. If you changed your job, you would lose your S user. So you lose your history, you lose your certifications and your access. And that's a huge risk to you and a security headache for your IT team. So the solution is the SAP Universal ID. And this links your business life, which is your S user, and your personal life, which is your P user, into one single secure account. So it is the master key you need to log in into your SAP BTP Cockpit safely. So I've created the perfect guide to help you on this. It explains exactly how you need to link your IDs in 5 minutes. If you don't have this, you are locked out of your building, out of your own environment. So your journey to the intelligent enterprise starts with that one click. Check the link below, get your ID sorted, and I'll see you in the boardroom.